Hello, welcome to another Retail News Roundup. I'm Tim Campbell, CommerceIQ's head of industry insights. In the beginning of this week, we have another 4 articles for you to really understand the state of retail, e-commerce, and the economy, like we do every week. So let's get into it. And the first article that we have for you today, and if you're interested in reading any of these articles, you can find the links in the comment section on the side. The first article is from the New York Times, and it's "Is Greedflation Rewriting Economics?" Or do old rules still apply? And this is a great article to read because it gets at really the core issue of the moment, which is inflation and what drives it. Right? Is it traditional drivers of supply and demand, or is there kind of this corporate greed factor that's playing a bigger role perhaps now than it has in the past? And it looks at a few different perspectives on that from experts around the industry, as well as some rationale behind why that may or may not be the case. So a great discussion. I recommend you check it out. Some really interesting thoughts on there, and of course, it's also possible that's a bit of a hybrid. When you think about it, it's could have inflation existing already, but then a combination of industry consolidation as well as higher consumer spending power due to savings due to prior stimulus checks received during the pandemic. That shoppers might be willing to put up with higher inflation temporarily, meaning that corporations could potentially charge more than they otherwise would be able to get away with in the short term. So some interesting perspectives in there, and I just gave you a little bit of my own as well. And the second article here is from CNBC, and that is Walmart is using its thousands of stores to battle Amazon for e-commerce market share. And this is great because when you think about e-commerce and how omni-channel retailers, especially large omni-channel retailers, can compete with the likes of Amazon, I mean, the store is a big differentiator, right? Having a huge store fleet that can act as mini fulfillment centers all across the U.S., especially when you're a national retailer like Walmart, is a huge differential advantage if you can leverage them as such, right? If you can actually use the store as an e-commerce center. About 90% of the U.S. population lives within 10 miles of a Walmart or 10 minutes of a Walmart. So a huge differential advantage there. And this is something that Walmart has talked about for a long time. And it's not something that they've always taken advantage of. It's kind of something that I think in terms of all their omni-channel efforts, they've been a little bit slower to take advantage of some of this aspect of it versus some other things like order online, pickup in store, or even third-party delivery services like Instacart. But I think when Walmart really gets this up and running, using basically just seamlessly using its stores both in a fulfillment center and a store, and not have them interfere with each other, which is made easier by the fact that supercenters are so large to begin with, they can do double duty. That's when you really have a powerful e-commerce platform, especially because they can leverage grocery, right? Not just general merchandise, which is kind of the bread and butter of much of standard e-commerce, but when they can really do grocery at scale for a low price, that's going to be the real differentiator. The third article here is also from CNBC, popular outlet today, and that's Amazon CEO of the worldwide consumer business, Dave Clark, resigns. And this is just kind of it goes into some interesting context as to some of the details around his departure. Doesn't give a reason as to why he departed, but just some interesting context in the fact that he's a part of a growing list of people who were really close to Jeff Bezos who are now resigning, right? So Amazon kind of entering a different stage in its history, not just from a new CEO, but also the people around the CEO are also different and changing hands. So some interesting insight into that. And I wonder what will it take for Amazon to maintain its dominance within e-commerce, right? And I would say a big part of that is that Amazon has to continue to innovate, continue to iterate, fail iteratively, fail fast to find those big successes. And if it can do that, it's going to be in a good spot. But right now, it faces some real challenges, right? Higher fulfillment costs are especially a big challenge for an e-commerce company. When you think of higher energy costs and not only how that affects costs on the back end on the supply chain, but also fulfillment to the shopper, right, and last mile delivery, and also higher labor costs. And especially when you're a big retailer like Amazon, it becomes harder to avoid, I think, the national state of the labor market because you make up so much of the labor market. So a great article here, worth reading. And then the last article here, is what we normally do, which is our focus on India for the fourth article. And that's taken from the businessstandard.com. And that's Tata Super App, not just old wine in new bottle, says JM Financial. And new is the name of their super app, which combines a lot of different functionalities that Tata has a handle in, while working with a lot of partner brands and partner agencies to do anything from booking travel to buying groceries to buying any other number of different categories, or providing other services kind of all under one hub, right? This is something we've covered before, but it goes into some of the problems, which is that, it doesn't have everything, right? It's not a one-stop shop. It doesn't have every category, and it doesn't have every service. And within those services and categories, it doesn't have every brand, right? Only the partner brands associated with Tata. So it's going to be a bit limited. And I think that could be a real Achilles heel for this app. So it's interesting to see exactly how it performs. The company's already moderating expectations by saying, we understand that not everyone's going to switch to this immediately. I think kind of having a patchwork effect of, we have some things, we don't have the others, and trying to market it as a one-stop shop, that's going to be difficult. I think that's going to be a real headwind for this app, but worth reading. A good look at kind of where it stands at launch. And so those are our 4 articles for this week. If you're interested in them, just check out the links in the comments section, and you can read any of those. And we'll be back next week with another, top 4 articles you need to understand retail, e-commerce, and the economy. All right, without further ado, I'll let you get back to your week, and I hope you have a great week. And I will see you and talk to you beginning of next week, same time, 4:45 Eastern, 1:45 Pacific time on Mondays.